Ever feel like you're just kind of spinning your wheels, not really making a difference?
Oh, yeah, I know that feeling.
It's just lost in the daily grind. I was feeling that way last week, actually. And then I came across this guy, Teru Nakashima, and his idea is about cultivating a sense of usefulness.
Usefulness.
Yeah, it's not about just being busy or productive. It's more about like contributing something really meaningful, making a real impact. And his approach is so interesting. It uses these cool exercises. It's all based on this idea that we all have something valuable to offer,
Everyone, even me.
especially you. I knew you'd be the perfect person to dive into this with.
Well, I'm intrigued already.
So to kick things off today, we're going to explore Nakashima's work together and hopefully uncover some practical ways to like tap into that sense of purpose and make a real difference.
I'm in. Let's do it.
Awesome. So Nakashima uses this really powerful analogy.
Okay, I love analogies.
Me too. He compares cultivating a sense of usefulness to like a tree bearing fruit.
I like that. So it's like a natural outcome of growth.
Exactly. It's about nurturing our potential, and ultimately it benefits both us and the people around us.
That makes a lot of sense. It's like we're all these treaties just waiting to blossom and share our unique gifts with the world.
Exactly. But how do we get there? He outlines 10 exercises to help us along the way.
10. Wow.
I know, right? But before we jump into all of that, can you give us like a roadmap?
Sure thing.
He talks about these two dimensions, momentary versus habitual, and then self-driven versus other-driven. Can you break those down for us?
Absolutely. So the first dimension, momentary versus habitual, that's all about the time frame. You've got some exercises that offer a quick boost of usefulness.
Like an energy shot.
Exactly. And then you have others that are more about cultivating it gradually over time.
So like a nourishing meal.
Exactly. Now, the second dimension, self-driven versus other-driven, that focuses on where the energy is directed. So some exercises are all about recognizing your own value.
Like tapping into your strengths.
Exactly. While others focus on the impact we have on other people.
Oh, I see. So like how our actions make a difference in the world around us.
You got it.
Okay, so let's start with momentary X self-driven. What exercises fall into that category?
All right. Well, we'll start with two that I think you'll find particularly useful. The first one is called Finding Contributions in the Now. It's all about being present and looking for small but meaningful ways to contribute.
Even in like everyday moments.
Precisely. It could be anything from actively listening in a conversation to offering a helping hand to a colleague.
Oh, so it's about shifting our focus from what we lack to what we can offer right now.
Exactly.
I could be pretty task-oriented, always rushing to get things done. This one might be a challenge for me.
I hear you, but it's a powerful practice. It can really boost your sense of self-efficacy.
Self-efficacy.
Yeah, it's that belief in your own ability to succeed and make a difference. And these small wins, even if they seem insignificant, can really fuel that belief.
Okay, so small actions, big impact. Got it. What's the second exercise in this category?
This one is called the 3-minute value offering note.
Okay, that sounds interesting.
It's really simple. Whenever you have a few spare minutes, just grab a notepad and jot down what value can I offer to others.
Just like that.
Yep. Think about your unique skills, your talents, your experiences. It's like a mini brainstorming session to remind yourself of what you bring to the table.
I'm always scribbling notes, so this one feels pretty easy to incorporate. But honestly, I sometimes struggle with imposter syndrome.
Imposter syndrome.
Yeah, like maybe I don't actually have that much to offer.
I see what you mean.
Could this exercise actually help with that?
Absolutely. It's a great way to challenge those negative self-beliefs and reconnect with your strengths. Research shows that reflecting on our past successes can actually boost our self-confidence and motivation.
Interesting. So it's not just about feeling good. It's about reminding ourselves of what we're capable of.
Exactly.
Okay, so momentary acts, self-driven, it's all about quick boosts of self-worth and recognizing our potential to contribute. I'm feeling more energized already. What about momentary acts, other-driven? What have we got there?
This category is all about tuning into the positive impact we have on others.
So it's more outward focused.
Exactly, and that in turn strengthens our own sense of usefulness. We have 3 exercises here: the gratitude receiving journal, the usefulness question, and momentary gift.
Okay, let's start with the gratitude receiving journal. What's that one all about?
It's as simple as it sounds. Each time someone expresses gratitude towards you, take a moment to jot it down in a journal.
So like a gratitude diary.
Exactly. Include the date, who it was, what they were grateful for, and how you felt in that moment. It's a tangible record of the positive impact you're already having.
Wow, it's like a positivity portfolio, a reminder of all the good we bring to the world. I love that. But is there any science behind this? Does just writing these things down actually make a difference?
There's actually a growing body of research on the benefits of gratitude. Studies show that it can increase happiness, improve relationships, and even boost physical health.
Wow, seriously.
It's true. It helps us shift our focus from what we lack to what we have. And that shift in perspective can be really powerful.
So it's not just about feeling good. It's about rewiring our brains for positivity.
Exactly.
Okay, on to the next momentary X, other-driven exercise. What is the usefulness question?
This one requires a bit of courage, but it can be incredibly insightful. The next time you're talking to someone, ask them, "In what ways do you think I can be helpful to you?"
Whoa, that's pretty direct. But I can see how it could challenge our assumptions about how we contribute. What if they say they don't need any help? That could be kind of awkward, right?
It's definitely a possibility, but even in those cases, it opens up a conversation about how we see ourselves and how others see us.
That makes sense.
It's about vulnerability and a willingness to learn and grow. And you might be surprised by the responses you get. People are often more receptive to offers of help than we realize.
Okay, I'm willing to give it a try. Final momentary X, other-driven exercise, momentary gift. What's that one all about?
This one's all about sharing your knowledge or experience in a way that brightens someone's day. It could be as simple as recommending a book you enjoyed, sharing a helpful tip, or even just telling a funny story that makes them laugh.
So it's like random acts of knowledge and good vibes.
You got it.
I like it. But before we move on, what personally resonates with you from these momentary exercises?
That's a tough one, but I think I'm particularly drawn to the gratitude receiving journal. I find it really powerful to have that tangible record of the positive impact I've had on others.
Yeah, I get that. It's a great reminder that even small acts of kindness can make a difference.
Exactly. How about you? Which one stands out to you?
Honestly, I'm a bit of a skeptic, so the usefulness question really intrigues me.
Oh, that's a good one.
It's a bit outside my comfort zone, but I love the idea of directly asking for feedback and potentially discovering strengths or opportunities to contribute that I hadn't even considered.
It's a great way to challenge yourself.
Yeah, I'm always up for a good challenge. Okay, now I'm excited to dive into the habitual exercises, the ones that help us cultivate a sense of usefulness over time. Ready to explore those?
Absolutely. Let's do it.
Okay, so we've covered those momentary exercises, the ones that give us that quick boost of usefulness. Now I'm ready to dig into the habitual exercises, the ones that help us cultivate that sense of usefulness over time. Like you said, it's about nurturing that tree.
Exactly. It's about those consistent actions that help us grow and flourish.
Okay, so where do we start?
Let's dive into the habitual X self-driven category. We've got 3 exercises here: weekly contribution diary morning, usefulness declaration, and regular expertise update.
Weekly contribution diary. That one sounds interesting. Tell me more.
It's all about self-reflection. Every Sunday evening, take a few minutes to reflect on your week and write down 3 ways you helped someone, no matter how small.
3 ways every week.
Exactly. It could be anything from assisting a coworker to running an errand for a family member, or even just offering a kind word to a stranger.
So it's about acknowledging those acts of service that we often take for granted.
Precisely. And by regularly doing this, we reinforce the belief that we're valuable members of our communities. We're celebrating those small wins and building momentum.
I like that. It's like a weekly gratitude practice, but focused on our contributions.
And there's a psychological principle at play here called positive reinforcement. By focusing on these positive actions, we're actually training our brains to seek out more opportunities to contribute.
So we're rewiring ourselves for usefulness.
Exactly.
Okay, what about the morning usefulness declaration? Did we talk about that earlier?
We did. It's one of those exercises that can be practiced both in a momentary and a habitual way. In this case, it's about making a daily commitment to being useful. Each morning, look in the mirror and declare your intention to be helpful to others in a specific way.
So instead of just thinking it, we're actually saying it out loud, making it more real.
Right. It adds a layer of intentionality to your day.
I like that. But honestly, mornings can be a bit crazy. Do I really have to do this every single day?
Consistency is definitely key when it comes to building habits, but it's also about finding what works for you. If mornings aren't your thing, maybe try an evening reflection where you reaffirm your commitment to being useful the next day.
Okay, so flexibility is key. What about the last one in this category, regular expertise update? What's that all about?
It encourages us to continuously learn and grow in our areas of expertise or anything we're passionate about. By expanding our knowledge and skills, we increase our capacity to be helpful and valuable to others.
Oh, I'm all about lifelong learning, so this one definitely resonates with me, but I can also see how it could be a bit overwhelming. The world is changing so fast. How can we possibly keep up with everything?
It's not about becoming an expert in everything, but rather about cultivating a growth mindset, embracing curiosity, and seeking out opportunities to learn and evolve.
So it's less about the specific knowledge and more about the attitude towards learning.
You got it.
I like that. So before we jump into Habitual X, Other-Driven, can you share which Habitual X self-driven exercise speaks to you the most?
I'm really drawn to the regular expertise update. I find so much satisfaction in learning new things and then sharing that knowledge with others. It really fuels my sense of purpose.
That's awesome. I think for me, it's the weekly contribution diary. I have a tendency to focus on my to-do list and all the things I haven't accomplished yet.
Oh, yeah, yeah, I know that feeling.
This exercise feels like a good way to shift my perspective and really appreciate those small but significant ways I'm already making a difference.
It's a great reminder that we're often contributing more than we realize.
Okay, so now I'm ready to explore the final category, habitual X other-driven, the practices that involve actively seeking feedback and appreciation from others.
All right, let's do it. We've got the monthly feedback request and the gratitude reporting session.
Okay, monthly feedback request. What's that one all about?
It's similar to the usefulness question we discussed earlier, but with a more structured approach. Once a month, reach out to someone you trust and ask for specific feedback on how you've been helpful to them.
So it's like a formal check-in.
Exactly. Choose a colleague, a mentor, a friend, someone whose opinion you value.
I see. But I also feel a bit nervous. What if the feedback isn't positive?
It's natural to feel apprehensive, but remember, this is about growth, not judgment. Choose people you trust to be honest and constructive. And remember, you don't have to agree with everything you hear. It's just information.
Okay, so it's about being open to learning and growing.
Exactly.
Okay, what about the gratitude reporting session? That one sounds interesting.
This one's all about fostering a culture of appreciation and recognition within a group setting.
So, like with friends, family, colleagues.
Exactly. The idea is to gather regularly and take turns expressing gratitude for how each person has been helpful.
It's like a group appreciation fest.
You got it.
I love the idea, but I can also see how it could feel a bit awkward, especially if it's not something you're used to doing.
Definitely. Start small. Begin with a small group of people you feel comfortable with. Keep the sessions short and focused, and don't be afraid to be specific in your expressions of gratitude.
Okay, so it's about quality over quantity.
Exactly. The more genuine and heartfelt the sharing, the more impactful it will be.
So we've now covered all 10 exercises. As we wrap up this part of our deep dive, what are the key takeaways you'd like to leave our listeners with?
I think the most important takeaway is that cultivating a sense of usefulness is a journey. It's not about achieving some perfect state of being useful, but rather about finding the practices that resonate with you and incorporating them into your life in a way that feels authentic.
So it's about progress, not perfection.
Exactly. And remember, it's okay to experiment, to adapt these exercises to fit your unique personality and circumstances. The key is to find what brings you joy and helps you connect with that sense of purpose and meaning.
Absolutely. So before we move on to the final part of our deep dive, let's take a moment to reflect which of these habitual exercises resonates most with you and why. Okay, so we've explored all 10 of Nakashima's exercises for cultivating a sense of usefulness. We've got those quick momentary ones and the habitual practices that help us grow over time. But now the big question is, how do we actually put all of this into practice?
That's the real challenge, isn't it? Going from understanding to actually doing.
Right, like I'm feeling inspired but also a bit overwhelmed. Where do we even begin?
I think the best place to start is one simplicity. Don't try to do everything at once.
Okay, so don't go overboard.
Exactly. Just pick one exercise that really speaks to you and start there.
Okay, one seed at a time. But how do we make sure it actually takes root?
Consistency is key, but it doesn't have to be rigid. Find a rhythm that works for you. Let's say you're drawn to the morning usefulness declaration.
Okay.
You could set a reminder on your phone or write it on a sticky note and put it somewhere. You'll see it first thing.
So make it visible. Make it part of the routine.
Exactly.
But what if, like me, you're not a morning person?
Adapt it. Maybe an evening gratitude reflection would work better. Take a few minutes before bed to think about how you were helpful that day.
So find what fits into your life.
Exactly. It's all about finding a sustainable practice.
What about those exercises that involve other people, like the gratitude reporting session? I love the idea, but it feels a little awkward.
I hear you. It can definitely feel a bit strange at first.
Any tips for making it feel less weird?
Start small. Just try it with a close friend or family member. Suggest a quick check-in where you each share one thing you appreciate about the other person.
Oh, so like a mini gratitude session.
Exactly. You could even try it over text or email if doing it in person feels too intimidating at first.
Okay, baby steps. But what about when life gets in the way? You get busy, things come up, and suddenly you've completely forgotten about your new habit.
Oh, that happens to all of us. It's so easy to fall off track.
Right.
That's where self-compassion comes in. Don't beat yourself up if you miss a day or two. Just gently guide yourself back to the practice.
Okay, so be kind to yourself.
Exactly. It's a journey, not a race.
But what about those moments of self-doubt, when you start questioning whether you're actually making a difference?
Those moments are tough, for sure. They can really make you want to give up.
Yeah, exactly.
Remember what Nakashima said, our worth is inherent. It doesn't depend on what we achieve or what other people think.
So even when we don't see the results, we have to trust that we're still contributing.
Exactly.
But what if you need a little extra support? When those doubts start creeping in, where do you turn?
Reach out, talk to a friend, find a community, or connect with a mentor, someone who can remind you of your strengths and encourage you to keep going.
It's like having your own personal cheer squad.
Exactly. You don't have to do this alone.
As we've been talking, I've been thinking about this on a bigger level. It's not just about personal growth, right? It feels like this has the potential to create real change in the world.
I think you're right. Imagine a world where everyone embraced their own sense of usefulness.
Wow, that would be amazing.
Right. It wouldn't just change individual lives, it would change communities, societies, maybe even the whole world.
Okay, now I'm getting chills. That's a really powerful thought.
But it also feels like a lot of responsibility, like it all depends on us.
Yeah, that's kind of daunting.
But it's true. Every act of kindness, every effort we make to contribute, it all makes a difference.
So it's not just about us, it's about something much bigger.
Exactly. And that's what makes it so meaningful.
Wow, this whole deep dive has really changed how I think about usefulness. It's not about some grand gesture or being a superhero. It's about those everyday acts of kindness and generosity. It's about recognizing our own worth and sharing our gifts with the world.
Beautifully said.
So listeners, what will you do to cultivate your own sense of usefulness? How will you nurture that seed and help it grow and benefit both yourself and the world around you? That's our challenge to you.
And thank you for joining us on this deep dive. We hope you found it helpful and inspiring.
Keep seeking, keep growing, and keep contributing to the world in your own unique and wonderful way.